All right, we are back. So far, we've got ourselves a little game where, well, it's not much of a game yet, but we've got the hearts going. Now, well, first of all, we only have the one costume. And I would like this to change sometimes. So, right now, our heart, if you recall, in the costumes, we have a lot of hearts, and I could change it this way, but well, that's not programming. So we wanted to go through different programs or different costumes. We wanted to choose a different costume. So anyway, we could do this in a couple places, but let's do it here. When it starts as a clone, we wanted to choose one of those many different costumes. So first thing, I do like to do this. Now, it's really not going to make a difference in this case, but whenever I mess with costumes, I like to put this in my initialization to switch costume to whichever one you want, like the beginning one. It's just making sure it starts right, but again, it's not going to make a difference in this one. But in here, we do want it to switch costumes. Now, if I just do this, that could work. I could the other way I could do it is use next costume, but I want it to be a random thing. I like random. So, what we're going to do, we're going to switch costume to, and then we want it to choose a random costume. Now, this is kind of a weird way of doing this, but it should work here. I'm going to go into operators, and I want that pick random. And if you remember, our costumes go from 1 to 8, peeking around there, 8. So 1 to 8. So I'm going to do 1 to 8. But if I just put pick random, you know what? Let's see. I don't think it'll work. I could be wrong. Maybe that's all I need. Oh my gosh, look at that. It already works. Okay, I was going to put in this whole join thing, but hey, I just learned something. How about that? So that was just as easy as it could be. Pick random 1 to 8, and already it's choosing random numbers. Wow, well, that saved us some time. So I'm going to stop. Gotta love when that happens. I'm very excited. So now we need to actually be able to catch these things. So for catching them, we could put this in the heart section. We could put it into the bowl section. Now, I'm going to put it in the heart section for this reason, that this is where the clones are made, and I want to make sure I delete the clone after it's caught. So I'm going to put this basically something very similar to what I did here in the when I start as a clone. So again, we're in the when I start as a clone part. And I'm going to put in another if then. If-thens are wonderful, wonderful. And you know what? Higher level of coding right there to understand the if-thens. Now, in this case, I'm going to say if it is touching, not the mouse pointer, but you can choose any of the sprites. In this case, if it's touching the bowl. If it's touching the bowl, then, well, what do we want to happen? I kind of want this stuff to happen again. Hide and delete the clones. So I'm going to put those, I'm going to duplicate them. I'm going to do a right click, duplicate, and I'm going to put those in there. Could have duplicated the whole thing. So every time I touch the bowl, yeah, I know it's not going to be perfectly centered, and without it, we could get into that, but that's another level. And now I'm actually wondering why it stopped. Okay, there we go. So it is working. So basically, I've got a little catching thing here. And yeah, that's something. All right, so now we can catch them, but let's keep track of things. You know, it's a game. And you know what? There's nothing cooler than keeping score. Okay, maybe a couple things, but very few things. So let's keep score. So here's variables. Okay, variables makes things so easy to keep score. Now, we are going to, first of all, there's always this my variable. I think it kind of gets in the way. Sometimes I even delete it, but let's do make a variable. And this is what the scoreboard will say. There are ways around that, but the easy way. So I'm going to call this hearts. Not too exciting, but it works. And I always do for all sprites, pretty much always. So, okay. There's my scoreboard. Hearts caught, 0. And that's another new thing I haven't seen there. That's kind of cool. Anyway, so hearts caught is 0. Now we're going to use some of these blocks that are in with this variable here. So the first thing I will do is I know the value is going to go up. So I'm going to, at the beginning, here's my beginning, my initialization. I'm going to add another thing. I'm going to say set hearts caught to 0. So it starts at 0. Okay, then when it touches the bowl, I'm going to change hearts caught by 1. And you got to make sure, if you clicked off of this, it might be on my variable, just so you know. So make sure that you're using the right one here, or it won't work. That's happened a lot where I've like had this on my variable. I'm like, why is it not changing? It's because it's changing a different variable. So hearts caught, change hearts caught by 1. And if you want, it could go up by 10s. It's up to you. So just that's all it took there. And it should work if it hides quick enough, which it probably should. So let's check her out. 1. I feel like the count. 2 hearts caught, ha, 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 ha. 3 hearts caught, ha, 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 ha. Okay, I'll stop with that. So now we're going to use this eventually to make like a win screen. When you catch so many hearts, you can. It's pretty easy now with that variable. But now we need to have the evil bad thing. Now, you can come up with anything. So basically, I want to come up with a new sprite, and when that new sprite gets caught or hits the bowl, then you lose. Or you could have a negative score. It's kind of up to you, but I'm going to say you lose. So I'm going to choose a sprite, and I'm going to go back to the heart. I'm going to make mine pretty, maybe kind of boring. I'm going to go back to the heart. I'm going to try. Okay, I'm going to be less boring. I'm going to use a heart face here. All right, now what I'm going to do though, I'm going to go into costumes, and I am now thinking this may not work, but let's find out. Okay, I'm going to turn down the saturation, turn down the black. I'm going to make it all black because it's going to be an evil black heart. Now, I've got to make these eyeballs and things kind of evil as well. So let's see. So how do you make something so sweet be kind of evil? Well, for starters, I'm going to turn this fill into a white, which it is now white. And let's see, we are going to make some evil eyebrows because right away that makes it pretty good there. Now, I'm going to add another thing that makes it really evil. Red eyes, yes. Uh-oh, I don't want that. Okay, there we go. Red eyes. There's another one. So it's looking pretty evil already. You could mess with the mouth or something. Let's see. I'm going to try something. Okay, and yes, I drew in some evil teeth just to finish it off there. And yeah, sometimes, by the way, zooming in can make things really good so you can be really precise on your things. All right, so I have my evil heart. Okay, so bad heart. And I'm going to go into the coding, and really a lot of this I can actually use the same stuff as my other heart. So let's see, I'm going to start, so I'm going to make them about the same size. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to delete a few things here, but I'm going to take this, I'm going to drag it into the other one. Because why redo these things? And I'm going to take this, drag it in, and I'm going to take this and drag it in. Okay. I'm a big fan of copy and paste. So now I'm going to organize a little bit here, move things around. So first of all, I really don't need this because that will already be happening. This is all good. If you want it to be bigger or something, you could, but that's all good. And the costume thing, I do not need that. So I'm going to right click and delete just to get rid of that one. All right, now, so it's going to create a clone. It's going to do it every 3 seconds also. Maybe you don't want that, maybe every 5 seconds, or who knows, you can make it every 1 second, who knows. So when I start as a clone, so that's all good, and it will still choose a random number. The costume, again, we do not need, so I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to do a right click and delete. I don't want it. Oh, it is delete 2 blocks because it's that one also. So delete, that gets rid of that. It's a good way to get rid of a single block out of there as a right click deal. So you don't have to drag and move and delete and all that. So in any case, so I like this because it will choose a random spot for it. This will be the speed. Maybe you want to make it a little tougher. Let's make this one just make it a little bit different. Okay, I'm going to be mean and make it 10. All right, if Y position is less than 165, then it's going to delete that clone. That is good. If touching the bull, now here's the deal. If touching the bull, we need something different to happen. Now, I still want it to hide. I still want it to delete the clone, but I don't want it to change the hearts by 1. Now, you want to make this simple? You could actually change the hearts by a negative number. You could even set the hearts to 0, so it resets the score, but that way you could still keep playing. But I'm actually gonna say you lose, basically. So I'm going to delete this one. And what I'm going to have happen is I'm going to have it go to a new screen, but I need to make that new screen first. So I'm going to make a new backdrop. So I'm going to go into backdrops and view my backdrops. Right now I have these. I don't like the blank backdrop, but I'll probably end up using that for something. I guess I could even use it right now if I wanted to, and I could even move it below. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to rename this one, and I'm going to call this lose. Okay, so basically that's going to be lose screen. That's just good. I like renaming things. And while we're at it, let me... I'm duplicating. I could have just added a new one down there, but this one is going to be called win. And like I said, while I'm at it, I'm going to make one more. And I'm going to duplicate. And I'm going to put this one at the very top because I don't have it yet, but I'm going to have a introduction. So I'm going to have an introduction screen. So there are 3 screens I need to make. Now, I'm going to make them really quickly here, but you can do something similar, or hopefully you'll be more creative than me. Okay, so here is my lose screen. Ooh, very exciting, I know. Here's my win screen. Okay, now, I will make this better, and you should make it much better, but that's the start, and my introduction has nothing right now. So this is the backdrop we're on right now, so I'm going to go back to that coding. Now, this is, I don't know, I'll change things later on here, but let's see. So let's go to the heart. Here's the deal. You could do this just about anywhere, but I don't do a lot of coding in my backdrops. So in any case, at the very beginning, here's that initialization again. I want to make sure, because I have multiple backdrops now. So I'm going to go to switch backdrop at the very beginning somewhere. It doesn't matter, but somewhere up here, switch backdrop to, I'm usually going to use the introduction, but right now I'm just going to do blue sky because we don't have an introduction yet. So switch backdrop to blue sky. So I want to make sure it starts that way. Now, let's go to the whole if touching bowl. We've got the hearts changed by 1. And let's say this. For a win, we'll say, well, let's just put some stuff in here. How about that? So also going to put it in here. I'm going to put another 2 more if-thens. I know it's getting pretty big, and you could have a whole nother thing, but we're essentially going to do the same thing as we've been doing here. We're just going to have something else within this. So let's say we are going to say if, well, first of all, for the win, so we want to use the points here. So that's going to be hearts caught. but we need it to equal something. We need to use what's called a Boolean statement, which are these are your Boolean statements, meaning they're true or they're false. So we can use equals for this one, and you have to decide, hey, what's going to be the win? How about, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to say 5. I would probably use higher, but this will be faster for the video. So if something equals 5, if what equals 5? Let's go to the variables. If hearts caught, and we actually will use this. You can't type in hearts caught, it will not work. You need to use that actual variable. So if hearts caught equals 5, then real simple, we're going to go to the new backdrop. Now, the other stuff will keep happening at this point. We'll get rid of that in a little bit here. So in any case, switch backdrop to win. Pretty easy. And let's do another one. So we have if touching the bowl is good, but we want something for the bad bowl, or actually the bad heart. So if heart's caught, that'll be the win screen. Now I'm going to go to this guy where I have if touching the bowl for this one. It's going to hide and delete the clone, but in this case, I want the lose screen to happen. So switch backdrop. You put it in there somewhere. Switch backdrop to lose. Now, this will work, or should work, I guess. Let's find out. Okay, right away. Whoa, I am a quick loser on that one, but hey, it works. Now, you'll see it's still playing the game, so that's something, and that's something we're going to have to remedy here. And in fact, if I get to the 5, it should change to the win screen as well. But then, so you kind of get the idea that it's still happening, but it is working. See, right there. And let's make sure that the just pure win screen is also going to work. So it's not too hard yet. And we can actually make it, we're going to make the game harder in a little bit here, which is good for any game. So let's see, 5 hearts caught, and boom, there we go, we win, woo! All right, so one final thing we're going to do with this video is we're going to make it so that when it goes to those screens, it will actually stop the clones from happening there. So, or at least hide them so they're not doing anything. So, if it touches the bowl, it switches backdrop to lose. The other thing, we're going to throw in a broadcast. Okay, I love broadcast blocks. You need to get used to these guys. They're in the bottom of the events section. And we're going to broadcast and right in here. And it says message 1. I don't like that it says message. That really confuses people. It's a signal. But basically, we're going to call it, I don't know, end screen. End screen. Because we're going to use it for the win or the lose. So it's going to broadcast end screen. Now, we also needed to do it for the heart, for the, if we switch this backdrop. So I'm also going to put in broadcast end screen. Now, again, that does nothing. So far, that does nothing. Now, the reason I'm doing that is I want the other things to hide. So when I receive, this is the other part. This is what makes the broadcast work. When it receives that signal, that end screen signal, I need to stop these things, but you can't just do a stop script. It just really wouldn't work here. So in any case, easiest way to do it is to hide them. So when I receive end screen, we're going to have it hide. Now, I want that to hide. I want that to hide. I want that to hide. So that's why this works well, because I can now take this and put it in with the bowl. And I can take this and I can put it in with the heart face, the black heart, whatever. I should probably rename that. Black heart. Okay. Good practice. And now we could even get that to disappear if we wanted to, but not a big deal. So because they all should hide. So let's give it a try. Oh, let's actually get the black one because that will make things go faster. Where is it? You lose. And Okay, here's the question. Why are they not working? Well, that's because they are clones. So we're going to need to stop that as well. Okay, so we did get the bowl to hide, so that's a start. But it's the cloning thing that is kind of a problem. All right, so let's fix the problem. All right, so first I'm going to stop this. Now, in fact, actually, before I stop it, you can see how this is glowing. This is the problem, that it keeps creating clones. So this is what we're going to need to get to stop. Now, how do we get it to stop? The if then. Gotta love the if then. So, let's do this. We could say, so I'm going to put kind of everything into that if then. We could say, if screen is, well, basically, how about this? We only want this to happen on this screen, right? So if we only want it to happen on that screen, then let's check for that. Okay, so let's go into operators, and we're going to use that equals. Again, Boolean statement, equals. So we want to see what screen it is. So let's go into looks. At the bottom of looks, there is backdrop, exactly what we want. So if backdrop, and you could use the number, you could use whatever, backdrop, let's just use the number. If backdrop number equals, and let's go check it out. There are 4 backdrops. If it's this one, so the backdrop 2, that's the only time I want those clones made is backdrop 2. So let's go back to, I was starting on this one. So if backdrop number, and it doesn't matter, by the way, we're going to do this to both sprites. So for both heart sprites, because that's the problem. So in any case, if backdrop number equals 2, then we wanted to create the clone. If it's not 2, then it won't. So that should solve the problem. But again, this is in the black heart. So we also need that in the red heart. So really, it's exactly the same thing. So I could go and change it, or I can just drag this into the red. Now I'm going to have to delete the one that's already in there, but let's go to the red. So we've got I know it's getting busy here, sorry. We've got our good one and our bad one. So this one is the create clone. Here's the bad create clone as far as this point. So I'm going to get rid of this, place it with this one. I'm going to change that back to 3 seconds. I forgot about that little change. And let's see. Again, gotta love the debugging. Oh my gosh, we have a problem. Same problem as before. You hid the bowl. Come on, Mr. Potler. If you hide the bowl, you gotta show it at some point. So here's that initialization. Show it at the beginning because you hid it. Anytime you hide something, you gotta show it. So here we go. Oh, actually, I probably should have hit that. There's Blackheart. There it is. It works. Okay, so yeah, you still have some things running, but it stopped everything. It stopped all that cloning. There we go. There is more to come. We're gonna add an intro screen, and then we can even make this game more difficult. So, good start. Hopefully your backgrounds are a little bit better than this. All right, we will continue on the next video.